Welcome to the Halliwell Manor. I'm Max.
And I'm Tina.
And we are here to discuss Season 7, Episode 5 of Charmed.
Styx Feet Under.
Okay, so this season's been kind of vacillating between good, bad, and genuinely bad, and this is sadly in the latter category.
I feel like this episode's just really underbaked.
Well, as you mentioned when we were watching it, it gets way too serious at a couple points.
Oh my god, it was so heavy in there are two scenes, two very serious telekinesis scenes. And then the ending is so underwritten.
And kind of the beginning, because the situation's played for being really cartoonish, wah page casted, protection spell on a guy, and he got a hole blown through his chest, and now we gotta do wacky, there's a hole in this guy's chest stuff. We paid for the special effect, so you're gonna enjoy it, audience.
Yeah, the special effect from Death Becomes Her.
Yes.
Oh, should we just jump right into it?
Yeah. Oh, also, this episode sees the return of the Angel of Death. One of the, I'm going to say, higher than the Elders pecking order universe-wise. I feel like he's sort of on the same level as Angels of Destiny, which we're to understand are the next level up in Charmed.
Well, that's another reason I feel like this episode is underwritten. At one point, Piper is arguing with Death and is like, hey, we do more than anyone else to uphold the cosmic order. And it's like, Death doesn't care. It's like, Death is true neutral. He reaps everyone.
Yeah, the cosmic order, she says the grand design, which I think has been introduced before, but it becomes a really, really irritating part of the final season of Charmed, and an even more irritating part of the comics, if you read them.
Are we going to talk about the comics?
Maybe. I don't know. It depends on how easily we can get a hold of them.
Mm.
Which, I mean, I guess we probably should, right? They are technically canon. The same way the Buffy season 8, 9, and 10 comics are technically canon. They get good once they get Christos Gage and Rebecca Isaacs on it. They did the
Buffy ones.
Yeah, the Buffy ones. The first season or so after, the first season when they become comics.
Just to be clear, you're talking about the tie-in comics for a show we don't podcast about.
Yes, but we started by talking about the tie-in comics for when we do. Charmed and Buffy both continued on as comics, although questionably canonical. They're technically in canon, but, I don't think anyone's gonna sweat you for not knowing that Prue comes back, but in a different body and using a different name.
Because they didn't have the appearance rights.
Or the name rights? It's weird. Why not just call the new character Prue?
I don't know, that is weird.
Because she's like, I'm Prue, but in my new body you can call me Patience, or I think it's Patience.
I don't know, I haven't read them.
Yeah, and it's like, well, then you just made a new character.
Yeah, that is weird.
It's some blonde lady named Patience that's a new character.
Oh, and she's blonde.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know why they couldn't bring Prue back? She was reincarnated as Chris. I will die on this hill.
Yes. But technically the comics brought her back.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lies! Okay, let's get into this episode.
Yes. Styx Feet Under.
Yes. So the episode opens with Paige and Piper on a stakeout, which is super boring, and they are being upfront about how boring it is. They're staking out a chapel on a
military base?
Yeah.
Okay, so normally I appreciate it when the director or whoever decides to do new camera stuff. There's a bunch of kind of experimental shots in this episode that are not fantastic. It feels very first-year film student. I have access to real equipment for the first time and I want to use it.
Star
Wipe! Yeah, there's a shot that opens it where we kind of go around the campus a little, like we go around Piper's car, and then we over a recorded conversation between
right.
Paige and Piper both on their respective cell phones complaining about how they're busy with their real lives and they don't have time for this, and Phoebe sucks because something Leslie is
They
stopping her.
say they're so busy with demons because Phoebe fucked Leslie. That doesn't make any sense. I don't understand what's happening here.
Yeah, how does one thing lead to, and she's avoiding talking to him.
Well, that makes sense. That's just Phoebe all over.
One would think that would give her more time to fight demons. Although also they don't want her in the field because she still doesn't have an active power.
Yeah, without those premonitions, how's she gonna fight demons?
To be fair, the empathy was a very useful offensive power because...
But that was relatively new.
It was. She got to use it like 3 times offensively to channel someone else's power against them.
Okay.
Which that doesn't really feel like empathy, but powers come from emotion.
Whatever. So, the person they're staking out is actually the innocent that they're trying to keep from being murdered.
A chaplain.
A military chaplain. And Paige says that she cast a protection spell on him, which Piper is outraged at. Piper's like, oh my god, you cast a protection spell? You know how often those go wrong?
We don't, because you never seem to ever try them.
You've never said that?
Which is odd. It feels like something you would have...
Also, I was like, why do protection spells go wrong? Is it, like, personal gain to use magic to do the job that you have because you can use magic?
Also, I want to point out that Paige made Daryl invincible in a previous episode, and the only drawback to that was that he had super strength.
Yeah. Well, also, Paige says that she stole this spell from her best grad student, so, like...
Why didn't you just use the spell you used to make Daryl invincible?
Anyway, this will come back, though. Protection spells, apparently you're not supposed to use them because of all of the stuff that's going to go down in this episode. Which is really just a way of putting all of the blame on Paige, even though putting a protection spell on the innocent was absolutely a reasonable thing to do.
Yeah, I think...
This is just Paige hate, is what this is.
I think Piper just wanted them to do what they usually do, which is show up a few seconds too late, see the innocent get murdered, and then go home early.
I mean, yeah, and just spoilers for like 2 seconds from now. If it hadn't been for the protection spell, that's exactly what would have happened. Oh, so incidentally, when they see the chaplain is on the move and they're going to go talk to him, Paige is like, oh, I have to put my shoes on because she had her feet on the dashboard with her shoes off when they were staking out the chapel. And I just want to say, I feel really relatable. Like, that's totally me. Hang on, let me put my shoes back on.
Paige could orb in this situation, right?
Yes.
Like...
Well, they don't want to freak him out, though. They just want to go up to him and be like, hey, your cousin's trying to kill you. We should go talk.
Your cousin who's entering this building right now.
Okay, so here's what happens next.
Okay. So, Hoodie McHooderson comes into the room wearing his hood up. He's wearing a hoodie.
I cannot take him seriously as an antagonist.
Okay, so this is going to be a weird pull.
Go ahead.
You remember... Have you seen Pride of the X-Men?
No, but I'm aware of it.
Okay, so in the unreleased pilot for the 80s animated X-Men cartoon, there's a bit where the Juggernaut attacks the Manor.
Mm-hmm.
And he has this line read, which I'm going to attempt to do, where he goes, hello, dear stepbrother, as he's breaking in, which, bizarre line choice, but it sticks in your fucking head. And this guy's entire performance reminds me of that, because he's like, hello, cousin, I bet you weren't expecting to see me, or maybe you weren't expecting to see this half of me, and then he dramatically pulls down his hood to reveal that he is half green face.
And when you say hood, like, just to be clear, this is a hoodie sweatshirt. It's a gray hoodie sweatshirt. And he's, like, slouching to keep the hood over the part of his face that's demon. And also, he has red hair and a porn star mustache. I can't.
So many choices went into this look.
Like, the porn star mustache is what does it for me. Like, what are we even doing here?
I love it. He should be the show's new main character.
Yeah, so he exposits to his cousin that since his father was a demon, he's killing off all of his human relatives so that he can be full demon.
Cole was just... Oh, maybe Cole's mom did it, because it was like, Cole was half demon, and he was just a full demon. Like, he didn't have to go around killing his human relatives. But I guess his mom vaporized his dad, and that might have been the entire family.
Yeah, I think that might have taken care of it. Yeah. Alright, so...
Although this was also kind of a thing with that dude Prue was interested in. You know, the one who was going to the Demon Academy run by Ron Perlman that employed professional wrestlers to wrestle you into hell if you didn't get enough souls.
God.
But he also had to kill his last remaining family member before he could become fully demon.
Yeah, I don't actually have a problem with that part of the plot.
The chaplain looks a little old to have a wife who just got pregnant for the first time, but, you know,
well, I
guess that happens.
The first time I watched this episode, when he first goes up to her, I thought it might be his daughter.
Yeah.
So,
weird casting choice there, but...
I mean, you know.
Yeah.
So
the half-demon cousin, he's like, you may know me as Ronald, but my new name is Gargak, and then he throws an energy ball through the chaplain's chest.
Okay, I just want to clarify for our audience, because I feel like it's really ridiculous. Which is, you may know me, his name is Kevin. You may know me as Kevin! But it's actually Cirque!
Yes, Cirque is his new demon name.
So, yeah, he throws a fireball through his cousin's stomach and kills him. But, of course, even though he's dead, he's still walking around because of Paige's protection spell.
Yeah, he throws a fireball through the chaplain, then he throws, like, an energy ball at Paige, and then he shoots lightning at them, and Piper's like, where'd he get all these powers? I mean, they're kind of all the same thing, Piper. Like, I would even argue that the electricity and the energy bolt are basically variations of the same
I mean,
power.
I only called it a fireball because that's what Paige calls it when she orbs it. But yeah, it definitely looks like an energy ball.
Yeah, like...
Oh, also, speaking of, like, all of the Paige hate...
Yeah.
Piper's like, nice protection spell, sis. And it's like, yeah, Piper! Nice protection spell!
Yeah, he's less dead than he would have been if you had just done what you were doing anyway. Also, why were you, like, waiting out instead of just going in and informing him what the situation was? Like, you didn't even need to tell him about magic. Hey, your cousin's gone nuts and he wants to kill you.
Especially because this is, well, Cirque thinks this is his last human relative. So, presumably lots of people in this guy's family have been being murdered.
Yeah.
Honestly... It's kind of on him for not having his guard up a little more.
Not to victim blame.
Anyway, we go to credits, and then when we come back, we're back at the Halliwell Manor.
Where everyone's cartoonishly looking at the hole through this guy's chest.
And then Piper's like, do you mind covering up? It's a little expensive. No, she says it's a little gruesome, but it's a little expensive. Can you just put a coat over the hole in your chest?
So... Phoebe asks what happens, and Piper's like, Paige cast a protection spell, and then everyone just dunks on Paige for like 5 straight minutes.
Ugh, Paige, this is all your fault. If it wasn't for you, he'd be dead, and we'd all be taking a half day.
And the guy's like, wait, am I dead or am I not dead? And Piper's like, this isn't about you, shut up! Okay, maybe this episode's a little fun.
He tries to take off, and Paige orbs and grabs him and orbs him back because they're like, yeah, he can't run around San Francisco like that. What if Agent Brody saw him and knew that magic was real, even though he already obviously knows magic is real?
Yeah, like, he saw you guys do magic last episode. He put a lady into a coma. I mean, they don't know that yet, but... Like, he's very clearly aware that you guys are witches. He doesn't need proof.
I'll talk about this more at the end, but watching this episode kind of got me on Team Brody.
Oh, yeah.
So, Death shows up.
Yes, the Angel of Death shows up, and he's like, hello, it's me. And then we get this very dramatic zoom in on his face, and he's like, Death! And it's like, yes, we know, we remember you from the last episode. And he's like, you might remember your sister had an encounter with me, which is a nice bit of double play because
right, there was the episode where she had to be death.
Well, she didn't have to be death. She had to accept death. Mm-hmm. Because she kept seeing the angel of death.
Yes.
And then, like, she had to accept that. Wow. Oof, that's weirdly prescient.
I think we talked about that at the time, how weird that was.
Yeah. He's like, he taught her to accept death, and then...
Yep.
I would be way more nervous if it was Piper right here. Although I guess Piper actually becomes death in this episode, so... Yeah,
what's interesting is I'm kind of the opposite of you, because he's like, yes, I'm familiar with your family. It's like, you're familiar with all families. You're fucking death.
Well, he specifically mentions Prue. He says, I had an encounter with your sister, which, again, is good, because it could be the episode or her death.
Chuck Tingle refers to death as the lonesome train, right? Like, eventually we all go to the station of the lonesome train.
Okay.
But when I heard him talking, I went to a book reading that he did, and he said even though it feels like that, like it feels like the lonesome train, the fact is it's the opposite of that because everyone eventually is on board. Mm. I'm sorry, I know that sounds really dark, but it actually made me feel a lot better about the concept of death. Mm. Anyway, Death is like, hey, have you seen that movie Final Destination that Kerr Smith was in? You know, the guy who just showed up as Agent Brody? Because it turns out I have to kill people in a particular order, and you're screwing things up by keeping me from taking this soul.
One of the things I appreciate about Death is that this guy, he has a great voice, he's got a great presence, but also Death is the biggest weenie ever. Like... guys, you messed up my schedule. I had everything set just right. You know, he's kind of...
I'm not even supposed to be here today.
I mean, I guess in the cosmic order of things, this is what he is, but he's basically the one kid who ends up doing the whole project himself. And he's mad because they've interfered.
Yes.
It's like, no, just let me do everything.
Okay, he shows them his list, by the way, which is constantly changing. Like,
okay, so then what does the grand design mean if everything is constantly
shifting?
Right,
spoilers for the thing I'm going to bitch about at the end of this episode.
Oh, sorry, go on.
That's okay. Just wanted to plant that seed. Yeah. Also, I feel like I've talked about the Trey Parker and Matt Stone thing about writing before.
Yes.
Okay, just as a reminder, despite all of my personal issues with them, I do think this is a really great piece of writing advice, which is when you lay out the beats of your script, it should be this happens, which causes this to happen. This happens, but it can't go forward because this happens, right? Like, that's how things should go. And in a bad script, it's this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. And let me tell you what you can't do. You can't say, and therefore, when there's no and therefore. Because Paige is just like, oh no, the angel of death is here. Phoebe, you need to go deal with Leslie so that we can get this done. What are you talking about? Why do you need to go talk to... What are you talking about, Paige?
The angel of death is here. Phoebe has to go deal with her love life.
Ugh.
You know, she could ask about Ken Marino. Her boyfriend who died.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I feel like it's pretty known that Death's not going to answer those kinds of questions. Mm.
Also, like, Phoebe remembers Ken Marino at this point.
Mm-hmm. Also, Paige tries to, like, shame her. She's like, Piper and I are really busy. We have real lives. We're not on sabbatical like you.
Yeah. Okay. So, it is so distracting that Phoebe has her hair, like, gelled back, except for one strand, which is, like, plastered to her forehead. It is such an odd choice.
I find her hair in the last scene really distracting. I feel like Alyssa Milano's hair was at an awkward length during this episode, and they just did not know how to deal with it. In the last scene that we're going to see her in, she has the 2 tiniest little pigtails. Yeah.
So Piper's like, Leo, can you go talk to the elders? And he's like, but I am an elder and they hate me because I murdered those elders. And she's like, just go.
He's like, I can't keep talking to the elders. Eventually I'm going to slip up and be like, you guys know I murdered another elder, right? And Piper's like, here's the thing, Leo, just don't do that. Just chill the fuck out and go do your job.
Which shouldn't be, like, it feels like he's just their white lighter again. I know he's still technically an elder, but...
I know.
Also, I guess him and Piper are kind of back together now.
They're absolutely back together.
Like, it feels weird because there was, like, they kind of talked around the 2 of them getting back together, but I feel like we never had the, like, official reconciliation moment you would expect in this kind of show.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of reminds me of how in the last real season of Scrubs, Elliot and JD just end up a couple again.
Yes.
And there's not a big moment. It's just they suddenly realize that they've started dating again, and it's actually working this time because there's no drama. It's just something that happened.
Well, I would like to say, since I just live tweeted Imzadi, that's also kind of how it happens with Riker and Troy in Star Trek Next Generation.
They don't have weird brain merging alien sex, or I guess
they do when they're
human on half alien sex.
They do when they're in their 20s back on Beta Z, but then they decide. Then things are awkward and they don't see each other for 10 years. Then they're on the same ship and then they're like, well, we can't be together. We're on the same ship even though we're totally in love with each other.
Did they have Jamaharon?
Yeah. Yes. Yes, literally in like the swamp of sadness from Princess Bride.
Wow. Do you think Riker had Jamaharon with Boimler's transporter clone?
No, definitely not.
You sure? He was making him listen to jazz. That's like Riker's opening move.
Oh, no, he just wanted to have him as a protege. All right, so back at Charmed.
That's what we're calling it now.
So back at Charmed, Cirque goes to see Death, and Death is like, wait, how can you see me? And Cirque is like, every time I kill someone, I absorb their powers. And I'm like, that's not an answer. Because who did you kill who has the power to see Death?
Yeah.
This is what I mean about this episode being underwritten. Like, that's not an answer.
Also, why would killing his human relatives give him powers? I mean, did they also have powers because they were part demon?
I mean, I think he just also killed witches in addition to his human relatives.
Whatever. He can see...
It's underwritten!
Yes. So, he's like, look, I know that you're morally neutral or whatever, but you should help out me because I want to get your list back on track. And Death's like, well, I do want to not write a new list.
Honestly, Death and the Charmed ones, match made in heaven, right? They both just want to knock off early.
I mean, I feel like the demon guy shouldn't have to talk Death into doing anything because he's basically like, you should, overpower the Charmed ones and kill the chaplain and do your fucking job because your job is to kill people or to take people. Like, you shouldn't need to convince Death that Death needs to exist.
Well, what he wants Death to do is to undo Paige's protection spell himself rather than shame Paige into doing it. So at that point, that would be him interfering. But then, of course, Cirque is arguing it's not because all Death is on hold until the chaplain dies.
Yeah. So apparently you can just rearrange the list.
Yeah, it rearranges constantly because things change, because free will exists.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Phoebe goes to the newspaper to talk to Leslie and then, chickens out at the last minute, and she goes to take off, and he corners her and is like, What is even this happening? What even is this? And I'm just like, from the outside, and a little bit from the inside, Phoebe does not appear stable enough to be in a relationship, maybe do not pursue this woman, Leslie.
Yeah, she's been flipping back and forth between screaming at you for no reason and kissing you against your will constantly.
Plus, don't forget, like, everything she's been doing outside of Leslie.
Yeah, like, he was there. He watched her ride a horse naked through a cafe. Like...
Yeah.
Don't poke the fucking bear, Leslie.
Plus, okay, this is weird because at the end of this episode, Phoebe's gonna be like, I just don't know if we can be together. And she doesn't say the reason why they can't be together, but I would think the reason is he's moving in like 2 weeks, because when he took the job, he only took it because he was getting ready to leave San Francisco, and this was like a temporary job to hold him over. So it's weird that in this episode where Phoebe's angsting about whether or not she should date him, it does not come up that he's about to move away.
Yeah, like, this conversation should be incredibly short.
Yeah.
But back at the police station, Agent Brody's casually talking to Daryl about the situation they're in, and Daryl's like, look, I might not be on great terms with the sisters right now, but every single cop who has tried to do anything with them or to them or whatever has ended up dead. I'm the one guy who has consistently dealt with them and not died. So whatever big government plan you have for the Charmed ones, maybe rethink it.
Oh. Also, Brody's like, I want to know what you really think about what I'm doing. And Daryl's like, I don't want you to send me to the cornfield like you did with Sheridan.
Yeah, he's like, you shot Sheridan with, like, a knockout dart and no one's seen her for weeks.
And then Brody does that trope where he, like, tosses his badge on the desk and he's like, look, now I'm not wearing a badge and you can say whatever you want and there will be no consequences. Like, that is not how that works at all.
Also, Daryl's a cop. He knows that's not how that works. But, yeah, no, Daryl's like, look, the sisters are good people. Don't interfere with their work or it will go poorly for you. And Kyle's like, he's like, I don't want to hurt them. I need their help. And Daryl's like, that's also bad.
I really, this is the episode where I really start to respect Agent Brody, because he wants the sisters to help him. So he's like, okay, here's what I have to do. I have to track them down, catch them in the act doing magic, and then do something to help them so that they know I'm trustworthy, and then I will approach them about what I need. And it's like, that is a good plan. It's weird how, like, getting rid of Sheridan was part of his plan to get the sisters' trust.
Oh, by the way, way earlier, we forgot to mention the chaplain escaped from the Halliwell Manor to go see someone. That someone turns out to be his wife, his shockingly much younger looking wife.
Who's late for a doctor's appointment.
Yes. Important.
But he just wants to tell her how much he loves her and where all of his important documents are. And okay, this is one of the very serious moments. It's just way too serious for a really dumb episode. But like it,
Okay, what doesn't make it land for me is that it keeps on being like, she's like, so what do you want for dinner? And he's like, oh, I don't know if I'll be home for dinner. And she's like, oh, okay. What do you want to do for breakfast? Oh, I'm not going to be back for breakfast either. Okay, what about lunch? No, I'm not going to be back for lunch. I don't know. They do, it's not as bad as all that, but they do a couple of I'm definitely going to die lines.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, later when he turns up dead, his wife is going to be like, what the fuck?
Like, I know that you're distracted by the whole you're pregnant with his baby thing, but maybe you should clock that he's very clearly indicating that something is horribly, horribly wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would personally probably think suicidal.
Mm.
But also, as you mentioned earlier, all of his family members have been dying recently.
Right? So, honestly, though, if anything, that should make her calmer, right? Like, oh, he's just thinking about death because all of his family members are dropping dead.
Mm.
Okay, so Death shows up and is like, Arthur, I've been looking for you. And then we go up to the attic where Piper is trying to scry for Arthur, but cannot find him because of Paige's protection spell until she can. And then Paige comes back. Paige was at magic school doing research. And I just want to point out how this scene shows how vital Paige is. Like, Paige should have been the one babysitting Arthur because she's the one who can orb. But she's also the one who's really good at research, so she had to do that. So Piper had to be in charge of babysitting him, and Piper lost him.
Immediately.
Mm-hmm. But then, presumably, Death does the thing to reverse the protection spell, and now Piper knows where he is. The scrying all of a sudden starts working. Alright, so the sisters orbed where the chaplain is, and now he's dead. Death has taken his soul. And Piper and Paige are outraged, and he's just like, it's literally my job. I'm Death. It's what I do.
And Piper is yelling at him. Piper's like, oh, what? You have to answer to the grand design? We've done more to protect your grand design than anyone else. And he's like, that's not how death works.
Also, that's not how the grand design works. It's not keep everyone alive. It's people have to die in this order.
Yeah, like, and in the comics, the grand design is this thing, I mean, I think it's a little bit in the last season too, where it's like, things are destined to happen a certain way, which means that you haven't done anything to preserve the grand design other than do what it wanted you to do, which isn't really on you.
Yeah.
Although, apparently you can subvert the grand design by being too lazy to do anything, which is why the Angel of Destiny has to kidnap Leo so that Piper will actually fight Billy and Christy. I
will say that explains the Charmed Ones, if the best way to enact the grand design is to just be lazy about it.
No, it's the only thing that can subvert the grand design.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood.
Yeah, they have to force them to do what they're destined to do.
Oh, that's not Destiny then, is it?
Yeah.
Anyway, Death kills Piper, because she needs to be dead so that she can be deputized as Death Jr. and help him knock people off his list, because he is just so behind now, y'all.
Yes, because of the brief delay, apparently no one could die until the chaplain died, so Death got backed up.
Yeah.
Which, okay.
So now, as punishment, Piper also has to be Death and help him clear up his backlog. She's Death intern.
So, they do another one of those, like, long, swoopy shots of all of these police cars surrounding Paige and Piper's dead body.
Just to show how many cops and news vans are there.
Yes, this is a big, big deal. A lot of people are talking about Piper Halliwell's very public death.
And not just her death, but her death, like, right next to this chaplain who had a hole blasted in him.
Yeah, they say that it's being treated as a murder, which, I mean, I guess because of the proximity to the chaplain's body it makes sense, but otherwise wouldn't you just assume it was like a brain aneurysm or a heart attack?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there were witnesses. She was walking and she just collapsed.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would have assumed. I guess maybe it could have been some kind of fast-acting poison?
But it seems weird that you would kill one person by blowing a hole through their chest and the other with fast-acting poison.
Yeah. Also, if it was poison, like, because the whole thing is now they're going to autopsy Piper's body, and Piper's ghost is like, Paige, don't let them cut up my body. I want it back when I'm done reaping all of these souls. And
I love how much death is not a big deal at all for Piper at this point in the show.
Right?
Like, she's dead, and she's like, eh. And Death makes her Death Jr., and she's like, eh.
Well, there's also this, like, kind of jokey thing where people are like, Paige, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine. Why? What? Oh, yes. Oh, no, my dead sister. And I just want to throw out there that, like, okay, you know that she's not permanently dead yet, but the stakes are pretty high at this point. Like, a little urgency might be called for.
I mean, we're pretty solidly in the death means nothing episodes of Charmed. Remember in the episode where Piper became King Arthur? Like, that evil night guy mystically killed Paige and Phoebe? Like, they were dead, were ghosts and everything. Then the commercial break happened, and they were fine after it. We got, like, a throwaway line about Leo healing them off screen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they were dead. They were ghosts dead. And it says, Leo healed us. Death doesn't matter. Who cares?
Well, okay, so adding to that, the next scene is at the manor, and Piper and Paige return to let Phoebe know what's going on. And Piper's just like, I have so much going on at the club. I have the kids to deal with. I have Leo's ongoing mental breakdown. I do not have time to be Death Jr. right now, y'all.
So, everyone's catching up back at the manor on their plots. Phoebe still needs to talk to Leslie. Piper needs to reap all of these people until Death's List is even Stevens, and Paige needs to find a way to vanquish Cirque.
Mm-hmm. Who, by the way, has presumably not become a full demon yet because he hasn't started blowing a lot of stuff up. They check the list that Piper has to see if his human soul is on the list. Because before he can become a demon, his human soul will have to be reaped. So as long as Kevin's not on the list of the people who've just died, they know he's not a demon yet.
Piper notices that the names on the list are changing, and she's like, what's the deal with that? And they're like...
Free will?
Yeah. Maybe Leo will find out when he gets back from the elders.
Yeah, no though. So we see Piper do her first reaping, and this is the only one we see, even though presumably she learns a lot about death from doing these. This is the only one we actually see. It
all happens off screen.
Yeah. But I feel so bad for the guy who just died, because he's like, what just happened? And she's like, you're dead, I think? I'm sorry, it's my first day.
And he's like, what? And she's like, time to go into the afterlife. He's like, do you know what you're doing? And she's like, nope, good luck.
It's my first day!
Yeah, she opens a swirly portal into the afterlife, and he's like, what happens on the other side? And she's like, well, I know hell exists, and presumably heaven also exists. I know there's a good afterlife, but that might just be for witches.
There is a good place and a bad place.
But this place is blue and not red, so you're probably fine.
Well, no, that's just death. Remember, it's the same weird Dutch angle blue wash death that they were in the episode where Chris was conceived.
Oh yeah, when Piper and Leo had sex in the place between life and death. That was another time where death did not matter at all.
Okay, but I was just admiring the continuity.
Yes.
Alright, so now Cirque is going to go yell at the seer, poor Charisma Carpenter, because she's the one who told him that he had to kill all of his relatives, and he's like, you betrayed me! And she's like, look, I just told you what you had to do. I didn't tell you you would succeed. Clearly you fucked up somewhere.
And it's because the chaplain's wife is pregnant. So the baby, the fetus is enough of a person so that Cirque still has technically living family.
So is this like a secretly pro-life episode?
I was just thinking about that, and I was like, it's probably not, but maybe, but no, it's probably not.
Cirque gets really excited because he's like, a baby? I can kill a baby! That's easy! Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So, Leo's watching the news with Piper dead, and he's like, oh, this is going to be such a fucking pain to explain away and clean up when we save her. If we save her.
I mean, it's great, because Leo's like, oh no, Piper's dead, and Phoebe's like, whatever, she's been dead before, and I know we exaggerate, but she does say she's been dead before. And Leo's like, she hasn't been on the evening news dead before.
Phoebe says, we'll think of something we always do, to which I wrote in my notes, Prue would like a word.
But yeah, Paige is going to try to postpone the autopsy. Leo's going to go talk to the elders again. And Phoebe is going to have an awkward conversation with Nick Lachey. She slams the door on him immediately, and Paige is like, Phoebe, I thought you talked to him. And Phoebe's like, I did technically exchange words with him.
Wordplay! Semantics! Anyway, he's like, "Hey, Phoebe, I'm so sorry that your sister just randomly dropped dead. Are you okay? Can I help?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." "Oh, yeah, no, it's sad. It's so sad."
I want to point out, having a giant ass grin on your face when she opened the door earlier is probably not the vibe if you're there to not congratulate. If you're there to console her on the death of her sister. Like, you probably shouldn't be like, giant smile.
Yeah. Maybe he and Phoebe do belong together. Okay, so he's like, "Hey, I can help you. Do you want me to like sit down with you and take some tasks off of your plate? Like, I'll make a list of all of the family members you need to contact and can start working on that." And she's like, "Oh, a list? That gave me a house style revelation that my sister already has a list of people who are about to die." It's like, yeah, we all got there like 20 minutes ago, Phoebe. What are you even talking about?
So she kisses Nick Lachey and sends him on his merry way. And they're going to use Piper's list to cheat to try to figure out who Sykes is going to kill so that they can... Or not Sykes.
Psych.
Psych?
Cirque.
They're going to look at the list to find out who the next relative that Cirque is going to kill is. And it's the chaplain's wife. Which, I mean, I feel like you should have maybe taken her into witch custody or whatever just to be safe anyway. Like, I know
no one's doing anything more than they have to in this episode. They're all so busy, Max.
So she's praying at the same chapel the chaplain was praying at when he got murdered by Cirque.
Which makes sense because it's probably her chapel that she goes to, and she probably needed, religious whatever. So Piper shows up first, and Cirque's like, "You can't interfere because you're death, and death doesn't interfere." And she's like, "Yeah, but my sisters are here too, and they will fucking kick your ass."
Yeah, Phoebe casually kicks him in the face, and then Paige, just grabs them and orbs out.
And then Piper pulls up the list, and she's like, "Oh, hey, look, chaplain's wife's not on the list anymore." Instead, on the list, at the top, is now Phoebe Halliwell.
Wah, wah.
So, during the commercial break, they've brought Phoebe to magic school to keep her safe so that no one can kill her.
Won't this just fuck up Death's list again? Isn't this functionally the same as a protection spell?
I don't think it is. I think this should really have moved Phoebe down to the bottom of the list. Or, it should have moved Phoebe off the list altogether. The reason it doesn't is because there was no chance Phoebe was ever going to stay put. And Phoebe is not having this. Phoebe wants to go off and work the problem, help, whatever.
She points out, we've all died a ton. Why are we all assuming this death is permanent?
Well, also, not even just... She's not dead yet. She's just on death's list. They're probably all on death's list all the time.
And Paige is like, "Look, you can't leave because you don't have active powers," which... That's the least reason she shouldn't leave right now.
Phoebe tells Piper, "Just focus on your stuff. Just focus on your list so that you can be alive again and not get autopsied." And it's like, Phoebe, she can't focus on her list. It has to go in order. You're at the top. That's why we're in this mess.
So Piper blorps back to the morgue, and Death comes and he's like, "So, how's it going?" And Piper's like, "I'm not gonna rape my fucking sister, you asshole." And he's like, "Death doesn't choose. Death comes for us all." And she's like, "Yeah, but we're the main characters of the show, so come on."
She's like, "How about if I just don't take any souls? How's that sound?" He's like, "That's pretty selfish of you." And I'm like, "Death, hi, this is Piper Halliwell. Have you two met?"
Yeah, there's actually a really good episode of Xena about this. God, I don't remember the name of it. But you could find it by Googling Xena Death. Yeah, it's the one with Sisyphus. Sisyphus captures Death.
Well, this is a common legend, right? It's why there's a Terry Pratchett book, Reaper Man, about this. It's the fairy tale with Jack the death get in my sack. Like it's a common fairy tale, and honestly, it's a trope. It's a story. I don't mind being retold. It's just maybe 2 or 3 more drafts. Writers have charmed, but death tells Piper what you always have to say on shows, which is that death has to happen, otherwise life's not worth living. So balance, blah blah blah.
Yeah. If you want the rainbow, you must have the rain.
Sure. Really's giving Piper something to think about.
So, Cirque assumes that the seer betrayed him or whatever because they knew he was coming, and she's like, they were already hunting you. Like, yeah, they figured out that you were going to try to kill the last member of your family. That's like basic deduction.
She's like, welcome to knowing a prophecy, man. Just because you know the prophecy doesn't mean you know how it's going to come about. And also, you're going to fulfill it by trying to subvert it. So, like, honestly, you want to be a demon? This is Prophecy 101. So...
He talks about how he's like, look, help me find the charmed ones and I'll peel their skin off and eat it. And she's like, look, I know we're demons, but you don't have to be gross about it. Also, the fact that you're half demon and you were raised in the human world, this feels like you might just be overcompensating for that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. He also... So, Charisma Carpenter's advice to him is that he use an old seer trick, which is to be unpredictable and therefore subvert prophecy, right? Nobody can tell the future if you just behave wildly, right? But if you're planning to go in and behave erratic, it's a problem, right? You can't plan to not plan.
Also, it's a trick for dealing with other seers, and their only seer is Phoebe, who's out of commission, and even when she was in commission, wasn't really in commission.
No, honestly, the real seer, quote unquote, here is Piper's list of people who are going to die.
Oh, fair. Yeah, because his plan is to fake out that he's going to kill Phoebe, and then, psych, I'm actually trying to kill Paige.
But as soon as that became his plan, Paige should have jumped to the top of the list. Although maybe she did, and Piper's just not checking it regularly.
Yeah, that seems likely. I mean, her name could have jumped up right when he decided, and she just hasn't looked at the list.
Yeah. Phoebe, this hasn't happened yet, though. First, they're in the attic deciding whether or not Phoebe's going to be allowed to fight with them. And Phoebe's like, yes, I'm going to fight with you because I had to take a sabbatical to remember that I'm supposed to save innocents. And now I remember that.
I remembered that my purpose is to help people.
She barely did a sabbatical. What did she supposedly learn?
Subliminate all of your rage into your love interest instead of your siblings.
Okay, that's fair.
I don't know, I said siblings, sisters.
So Cirque has called them to talk, and they're like, it's a trap, but what else are we gonna do?
Yeah, obviously it's a trap. So he's like, hey, look, here's the deal. You give me the chaplain's wife, I murder her, I become full demon. And Phoebe's like, we don't get anything out of that deal. And he's like, I didn't say you'd get anything.
Well, the what he's presumably offering is that he won't kill Phoebe, but
they turn down the deal, and he's like, I guess then I have to kill the Paige. And he zaps Paige instead of Phoebe. And they weren't expecting that. ABO Paige, always be orbing.
Speaking of always be orbing, so her soul comes out of her body, and Piper's like, okay, I have to take you to the afterlife. But is Paige not a future White Lighter? Shouldn't she be going to, like, the White Lighter queue?
Yeah, right? Death should extra mean nothing to her. Like, yeah, when she dies, she's just gonna immediately come back as a White Lighter.
I mean, maybe that's where the portal is going for her, but they're definitely not acting like that. They're acting like she's dead, but she's just gonna be a White Lighter now.
Yeah. She's gonna spend like 2 weeks at White Lighter training camp learning how to heal, and then she's gonna come right back. And let's be honest, she should learn how to heal.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a couple weeks being dead, if you come back learning how to heal, maybe it's worth it.
Paige is gonna have such a more efficient sabbatical being dead than Phoebe had, doing whatever she was doing.
So Paige is like, I'm scared, and Piper's like, just let go. And Paige is like, you could be trying to save me harder. And Piper's like, in the last hour and a half I've been death, I've learned a lot about the natural order of things.
And of course that's what I was talking about with, we didn't see her reap any souls other than the first old man that she did. But you're right, presumably she was doing it off screen.
Yeah. And, you can't fight the grand design. I'm going to lead you into the dark.
So Phoebe is standing over Paige's dead body like, oh no, what can we do? And in doing so, she has a premonition. Her premonitions are back because she just needed to feel the pain of losing another sister or something?
No, she was willing to sacrifice herself.
Oh.
Because she was like, I'm going to fight Cirque even if it means I'm going to die. And in doing that, she proved that she's a noble and true spirit, and thus kind of has her premonitions back a little. Like, she sees Cirque attacking the chaplain's wife, which is what you knew he was going to do anyway.
Well, presumably she knows where he is.
Yes.
Because remember, premonitions have also, even though we have no way to see it, we know that they give her, like, GPS coordinates, too.
Yeah.
So she takes the potion from Paige. She's going to go vanquish Cirque. Oh, he's at magic school. So I guess she doesn't even need the GPS coordinates. She can see that it's magic school. Which he can go to because he killed Paige and absorbed her ability to go to magic school.
I don't know. He can go to magic school, but you can't kill people in magic school. It's the whole reason you brought her here. I mean, I know part of the reason was that he didn't easily have access to magic school, but, like, again, death does not exist on the grounds of magic school.
I, like the writers, had totally forgotten that part of magic school.
Yeah, it's the whole thing in the Headless Huntsman episode.
Honestly, the fact that death then comes to magic school, he shouldn't even be able to enter magic school.
Yeah.
Anyway, Phoebe vanquishes Cirque, and okay.
They changed the circumstances.
Okay, I'm so angry. I'm genuinely angry right now. She's like, okay, Cirque was not on Death's list, so you shouldn't even be reaping him, and yet I killed him. And it's like, no, he would be on the list. The list changed, just like we saw it changing. As soon as you were in the position to kill him and about to do it, the list changed. But she's like, he wasn't on your list, so you should take him and let Paige go instead. That doesn't make any sense, Phoebe.
Yeah, we're going to trade Cirque for Paige because we already killed him and thus changed the circumstances.
Circumstances change all the time, Phoebe. That's why the list keeps changing.
Also, like, she's like, it maintains the balance. It wouldn't maintain the balance. Like,
no, you killed him. He's gotta go to hell too.
Well, I'm thinking, like, karmically speaking or whatever, if someone was destined to die and you're like, I killed someone else, therefore balance, like, no, because presumably as life goes forward, Paige will save more people, and if Cirque had gone forward, he would have killed more people, which would have... I just... What?
This is so underwritten. Anyway, Death shows up at the portal and is like, wait, Piper, don't take your sister into the portal. I'm going to toss this demon in instead. And then he does.
And he ominously vanishes. He's like, I'll see you later. Later forever.
I do like that his like shimmer out for a brief second shows his skull because he's Death.
It is cool.
It's a cool effect. So Paige wakes up, she's still alive. Piper wakes up in the morgue.
Oof, that's a nightmare scenario.
And Agent Brody is sitting there waiting for her. Okay. They are witches.
Yes.
They do dangerous shit all the time. We already knew Prue died.
Yes.
So he was so certain that she was going to be successful and not be permanently dead that it was worth his time to sit there in the morgue all day waiting for her to wake up.
It's great. He's eating a sandwich and he has a bunch of clothes for her because, she wakes up, she's on the slab, she's naked, and he just dusted her some clothes and he's like, hey, cool. You just came back from the dead. That's neat. And Piper's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm an ordinary person. And he's like, look, I know you're a witch. I would like you to work with me on a case. I know magic is real. I need magic in my corner for this case. And in exchange, I will help you.
He's going to help her by telling all the local authorities that Piper was secretly undercover for the FBI, and that's why she had to pretend to be dead. So, she wasn't really dead. Don't worry. Don't worry, mortals. There's no magic. Just...
This woman was alive the whole time.
Yes. And then we get a sequence where Leslie goes to the manor to talk to Phoebe. And again, just like Phoebe chickened out, he chickens out and he's not going to go to the manor. But Phoebe catches him and is like, oh, you do love me. That's why you came here. And he's like, well, as soon as I found out your sister was alive, which means you weren't a total fucking sociopath before.
Yeah, he's like, your sister's a club owner who moonslight as an FBI agent? And she's like, yeah, well, sometimes. This one time. Don't worry about it.
Don't overthink it. The writers didn't.
Also, the scene opens with this really weird from down low shot of Leslie, like, looking up the stairs. I appreciate that they were trying something with the camera angles, but it feels really weird.
Yeah.
Like, there's a bit in Poker Face, in one of the recent episodes of Poker Face, that I really like, where the scene is just framed with Charlie having a conversation with someone entirely on the right side of the screen. And they have this whole conversation, and it just feels like kind of weird posing, but they kind of frame the scene.
Mm-hmm.
And then a truck pulls in, and it fills all the empty space, and it's just weirdly visually satisfying. And I feel like that's what they were going for with some of these shots, and it just doesn't work. And I couldn't tell you why. But,
that's interesting. Anyway, they don't know what they're going to do with their relationship because... ...
Yeah, he's gonna leave soon.
But he doesn't say that!
Yeah, he doesn't say that, actually. Yeah.
They give no reason why they shouldn't just be in a relationship.
Yeah, they have the define the relationship talk without defining the relationship at all. It's very bizarre. But yeah, they're just gonna see where the future takes them.
Oh, the future. Phoebe knows a little something about that now.
Yeah, she's got her premonitions back. And...
Then she hugs him. She doesn't even kiss him, which I find really weird because they fucked in the last episode. But whatever.
So we get a reminder that Piper and Leo's children exist.
Okay, so this is supposed to be like a really nice family moment. They're in the solarium. The shot is very warm. Wyatt and Chris are on the ground. I was going to say playing, but Chris rather is an infant. So Wyatt's playing and Chris is just laying there.
Yeah.
And Leo sits down next to Piper and puts his arm around her. He's like, can I get you anything? And she's like, I have everything I need. And it is a beautiful family, if this isn't nice, I don't know what is, shot. Like a calm before the storm. And after the storm. Because Piper's basically just a continuous storm.
But yeah, it's a nice note. This episode isn't terrible or anything, but it's not really... fun. Next episode is PMS werewolves. Like,
I think you mean Once in a Blue Moon.
Once in a Blue Moon, the episode where the charmed ones become PMS werewolves.
Which is so funny because you want to hear the description on Peacock?
Yes I do.
The charmed ones try to prove Leo's worth to the suspicious elders.
Yeah, they don't even mention the PMS werewolves.
They don't even mention it.
But yeah, much like the charmed ones, we have our own power of 3. The first power in our pack is Premonition, who in this episode was, or will become famous later. I didn't have anyone.
Okay, well, Cirque is played by Zach Ward, who is... He's in a lot of stuff as, like, one role or whatever, but I think his biggest role, and definitely the one I know him best for, is as Christopher Titus's brother, Dave, on the TV show Titus.
Oh.
Which I think is part of my origin story. I don't know if you've watched that show.
No, I've heard many, many good things, but I've never actually watched it.
That show was really interesting, and I think kind of ahead of its time in being a sitcom that had a very dark undertone to it. And there was a very, like, weird, what is happening here feeling to it. And I just remember watching it and being like, what... And wanting to analyze it, right? So as a young person watching it and being like... This is TV that is literature and worth analyzing. Although, to be fair, the first show that I would identify, sparking that in me is Saved by the Bell, so, take it with a grain of salt. But I was kind of obsessed with that show, so that is what I see him as. And another reason why I can't take Cirque seriously as a villain.
It's Titus's brother.
Yeah, exactly.
The second power in our pack is Time Freeze. What specifically dated this episode?
So I didn't have anything that dated this episode.
I didn't either. I mean, the whole military thing does feel very recent post 9/11, but
sure.
But you can't say that every time the military's in something.
I actually want to justify there being no time freeze because this is very much a fairy tale story. So it would make sense that there would be not a particular time indicator in it.
Yeah. And the final power in our pack is telekinesis. What, if anything, genuinely moved you? I mean, I really like the scene at the end where Piper, it's such a hokey line, but it really works that, I have everything I need. Also, it's a nice thing for Piper, who's always wanting something.
Yes. For me, it was the scene where the chaplain goes to say goodbye to his wife. Like, that kind of stuff always wrecks me. Like, when you have a ghost who's able to, like, say goodbye to their loved one who doesn't know they're dead yet. Like, that whole trope just breaks me every time, and it did this time too, even though the rest of the episode around it did not support the weight of that scene.
So I think that'll about do it for this week.
I think that will do it. Our show is partially listener supported. If you want to be one of the supporters, you should head over to our website, www.welcometotelevision.net, and click on our Patreon link. We'd like to thank our current $5 and above patrons: Beryl, Patricia, Rosa, Ryan, Maricruz, Benjamin, Kate, Jen, Dan, Anthony, Daniel, and Hippolyta.
If you'd like to support the show in other ways, you could always rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. It helps other people find the show.
If you want to talk about this episode, or any episode of any television show, you can email us at ilovetelevisionzines@gmail.com, or you can tweet at us on Blue Sky at Welcome to TV.
So until next time, I'm Max.
And I'm Tina.
And this has been Welcome to the Halliwell Manor.